I'm Lisa, also known as the website Wonder Woman, which was the original name of my business. And then we changed it about 4 years ago because everyone just wanted to deal with website Wonder Woman and nobody else. So with a wonderful world of websites now, because there is 4 of us all together, and we're also multi-award winner. And I won the Website Design of the Year in London last year for Digital Women Awards as well, after coming running up for 3 years. And then the one time I wasn't able to make it, I won. But anyway, that's a little bit about me. This presentation is simple ways to get more clients on your website. So they're just little tweaks that you can make yourselves to be able to get more people interested on your website and turn more visitors into clients. So the first thing is to show that you solve a problem and they can trust you. So when someone lands on your website, they only want to know 2 things. Can you help them and can they trust you? You wouldn't believe the amount of websites that we land on that say like, welcome to my website, I'm Lisa. That doesn't tell anyone anything apart from your name, which they really don't care about. They just want to know, can you solve their problem? What is the problem that you've solved? Make sure that that is on the top of your website, people can understand, and then show that they can trust you. So testimonials, all that type of stuff. So what we always start with is the website mission. So what do you want people to actually do on your website? Just to give more information or to back up their credibility. But I always think if you're going to have a website, then you want it to do things for you. So I was on holidays last week. When I come back, people had still been buying. People have been buying courses. They've been buying support. They've been booking calls in with me. So it was doing what it needed to do while I weren't there. So what do you want your website to do? So it could be signing up to things, signing up to mailing list, booking calls in with you, looking at your books. I would say though, if someone lands on your website and you are selling things that are like, you know, a couple of £1,000 or something, no one's going to land on your website and just buy unless they really know you. So what are the first steps that you want people to take when they land on your website to keep them in your world? Because obviously, if they land on your website and they don't do what you want, how are you going to keep them in your world? So you can have secondary missions as well. But it's basically the goal of your website. And you've got to think as well that it's not just what's your goal. What do you think are the steps your visitors want to take? I actually audited a website and it was for a really important charity. And when I went on there, there was no way at all telling me how I would take those next steps. Like, how would I work with this charity? It kind of said what they did. I obviously knew what they did because I'd spoken to the person beforehand, but it needs to be really, really obvious because people are very, very short of time. And generally, if they go on your website and it's not clear what they need to do next, they tend to leave because they're not there to hunt about looking for how to work with you and all that type of stuff. Which leads me on to calls of action. Calls of action are big, bright buttons that tell people what you want them to do. Loads of people, I don't know why, but they seem scared of calls to action. But if you don't tell people what you want them to do, they won't take those next steps. Like I said, they're not going to go looking around your website. Oh, is there some way where we can like email them? Or is there some way that will tell us what happens next? So always give people clear calls to action. People like to be told what to do, even though they say they don't. Don't bombard people though. Don't spam them with calls to action. I audited a website a few years ago and I landed on the website, and if I weren't auditing the website, I would have left immediately because there was 2 calls to action in bright colours flashing at you. And then over on the right-hand side was like this flashing sign-up form. And my brain just went into total overload and thought, I have no clue what to do. I'm just leaving. Obviously, I had to stay on because I was doing an audit, and that's what I told them. And they changed it, and it was much more clear. And they did say that just giving people one thing to do instead of a choice was making people actually do that more because it's too overwhelming sometimes. I always say calls to action at the top of the page. throughout the page then, and always at the bottom. You don't want people to get to the bottom of the page and then they leave. So we had someone a few years back, and she specialised in computer software, and they'd done demos, and she had 200 odd people every month reading this one blog post. It was really, really popular. And then we looked at her analytics, and as soon as they read that blog post, they left the website. They didn't look at any other page, and the visits to the rest of her website were really low. So all we did was put a call to action at the bottom of the blog post saying, book your demo. And within a month, she had 20 demos booked. So that's how important calls to action are. So what is the customer journey? So when someone lands on your website, depending where they've come from, it's usually like social media, or they've typed it in after a networking event. They probably want to know more about you and what you offer and all that type of stuff. So what is the customer journey? What I say to people is, how do you get clients from the moment they first contact you to the moment that they buy from you? And in real life, if it's not on a website, how do you get clients? Not that a website's not real life, because it is. But how do you get clients from the first step to the end step? And map that out. And does your website also reflect that? Is it doing all those touch points? For example, they first get in touch, they want to know what you do, they might want to know a bit about you, they might want to see some testimonials. What do people ask you? What steps do people go through? They might want to book a call with you. Like most people, nearly everyone, 99% of people will book a call with me before they buy anything. So I know my website needs to be geared up to push people to book calls. Use your about page to sell. So I read a book, it's a really good book. It's all about funnels and automations and stuff like that. It's by Chris Dillon, and it's called No One Gives a Shit About Your Business, because they don't care about you, they care about them. But on your about page, that's where you sell you. I went to a networking event recently, and I was sat at a table with 3 other guys, apart from other people as well, but they all did websites. I always think if people want to work with me, they generally work with me for my personality, my approachability, my fun way of doing things, all that type of stuff. So I need to get that across on my website, because that is why people work with me. So if 2 people done exactly the same thing, and I was someone who wanted a service, and I looked at this website and looked at that website, and they were practically identical, it's the about page that's going to sell. Because people buy from people, and that's where they're going to choose, whether they choose you or someone else. So it's not all about you, like your life history and all that type of stuff, but it is, why should they choose you? What makes you unique? And that's where you sell yourself to them. Make sure everything is easy to use and pay. The number of websites that go on say contact me to pay. My eldest daughter, she's 27. She hates speaking to people, even though she runs her own forest school. She's more at home in the forest with loads of kids. She also likes crystals. She went back last year on 10 websites to try and buy new crystals, and they all were saying, contact me to pay. She didn't want to speak to people. She didn't want a conversation. She just wanted to buy something. So make it really as easy as possible. As well as when they go on the website, make the navigation easy for people to find, not drop down after drop down. Make sure things are easy to find. Like I said, don't have people go hunting for things, because they'll just leave and go and look at somebody else's website where everything is just there as they want it. Funnels and automations. So this is like getting your website to do something. So getting people on your website, keeping them in your world, and getting things automated. Like I said, when I was away last week, people could book a call, they book the time, they get sent all the automations saying reminders of your call, use your Zoom link, all that type of stuff. Or they could sign up to one of my freebies, which gets them on my email list. So then I can get to keep them in my world. Because you know what it's like, you leave a website, and then do you think about that person again, unless you've followed them on social media or you've signed up to their email list where they can get back in touch with you. But always try and automate as much as possible, because it's just going to be easier for you in your business. Even if it's something like an FAQ page, So frequently asked questions that you can just send to people to save you answering questions all the time and things like that. It doesn't have to be full-on tech automations. The final one is to collect email addresses. So at the beginning of my business, I was always told, collect email addresses. And it was something that I kind of did, and I've always sent a newsletter. But over the last 2 years is something that I've really doubled down on, especially because a year and a half ago, my Facebook, which I don't really use social media for business, but it was how I connected with people. My Facebook was hacked and deleted within 5 minutes. I've never got that Facebook back. I lost 2,500 friends. To me, it was like more of a personal thing. So I had backups for my photos and stuff like that. But you wouldn't believe the amount of people I see who've lost their business because their social media has been hacked and taken down. So if you don't do anything else, even if you haven't got a website, take people's email addresses and keep in touch with those people. You are supposed to clean your list every 6 months to a year, but keep those email addresses so that you are able to get in touch with people. I mentioned earlier, my eldest daughter runs a forest school. Their social media went down back last year, but she was able to contact all people about their bookings and things like that because she had their email addresses. And I always like a bonus. So the bonus one is to be uniquely yourself. I really struggled at the start of my business thinking, because obviously most of you don't know me, I spent most of my life bringing up my children. This is my first ever full-time job, and I've been doing it nearly 11 years. I was always struggling at the beginning, thinking I have to be this professional, I have to wear certain clothes, people are not going to want to work with me because I'm not like a big company. But the more and more that I become myself, if you see me in network and I have magic wands as business cards, everything is very magical and fun. And you wouldn't believe over the last 3 years when I've embraced that more, how many clients we get now. They're just naturally drawn. And the people that I used to think were the people to work with before have kind of fell away and are not in my world anymore. Once you be yourself, you get more people that want to work with you. So that's me. And thank you. That's a QR code. I think it's different to the first one. The other ones are to follow me on social media and all that type of stuff. But this one is one of my downloadable freebies, which is to find the treasure in your website, because it's all about fun. So it's a little quiz about seeing what you have on your website and what you don't have and how you can improve it. Obviously, anyone can speak to me about websites and stuff like that, but I absolutely love speaking and running mini workshops and all that type of thing. So if anyone has any like networks or groups or anyone that, if you know people in South Wales, we also do in-person workshops, but all that type of stuff. I like people in.